Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the stocks that were in play today. There were quite a few that were running. The markets were super hot. We had the big cryptocurrency rally, and I did the last video. I showed some over-the-counter stocks that were in the cryptocurrency blockchain sector and in the marijuana sector, and I'll be doing I'll be covering the other crypto plays later. But in this chart, we're going to be looking at some of the big percentage gainers from today. And the biggest one was PTI. It ended up closing up 161%. So congrats everybody. Giant move, nice follow through. It was the after hours mover yesterday. RSI is at 91 now. You've got Fasto above 80. So they both need to stay above, in the power zone. You've got this parabolic spike on plus DI. Notice how it's shooting straight up. There was a huge gap open today. Yesterday, the close was down here by the 100-day simple moving average, and today there was a gap up open above the 200-day simple moving average, which is at 437. The share price did run higher. It ran all the way up to the next resistance level, which is the 300-day simple moving average, and the share price pulled back. Keep in mind that that's always the lock-in profit zone if the candles fail to break above. Now, if the candles do work their way back into the bands, the upper Bollinger Bands down here at 421, what bulls want to see is they want to see this 200-day simple moving average hold and turn into support. As long as that turns into support, it should launch higher. Now it needs to break above the 7 resistance zone to head higher. If 7 turns into resistance and fails to break tomorrow, you could see some consolidation. Notice how 5 was big resistance back here in July. That would be good if it turned into support. Notice there's a giant volume spike today. So keep an eye on PTI. We'll see if it can follow through. Let's look at GLBR. Okay, yeah, this stock had a nice bounce today. It ran last week and it hit the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages and failed to close above, and then it pulled back. And yesterday it had closed below the middle Bollinger Band, which is currently at 74. And so that's the big level to break. The bounce today put the share price right back at that level. The close on Monday was below EMA's 4, 8, and 13. That's the pink, orange, and lime lines. The candles closed back above that level today, which is good, but it has to close back above the middle Bollinger Band for an uptrend to begin. If it fails to break the upper middle Bollinger Band here, that's going to signal continuation of the previous downtrend. That's the top of the downtrending channel. Now, if it can get above the middle Bollinger Band and turn into support, a new uptrend could begin, and then we'll be looking for another test of this 100-day simple or 50-day simple moving average at 109. And then once it finally closes above that level, that's when we'll be talking about the 100-day simple moving average at 132. So for tomorrow, above 74 signals more upside. If it drops below 64, that's going to signal downside risk. Okay, take a look at RPRX. Okay, so this stock, it was up 41% today on this buyout news, and so it formed the buyout candlestick pattern. Here, let me get it into annotations for you. Stocks tend to trade in a really tight trading range when there's an offer price. And if you look here, there was some information today. You could see that they put out a thing saying that they're going to have an offer for 67 cents, and so this has got the bears out attacking. So they've got a investigation into the buyout, and this is the shorts are trying to attack here, and so 67 is the big level, and so if it fails, so we're going to see what's going to happen. Is it going to hold this level? Is this buyout for real, and it's going to stay in this trading range, or is it going to pull back lower? It seems like 67 could be a top here if that's so basically, if you're just looking at this from a chart perspective and you're not trying to get into the DD, there was a big gap up open above the upper Bollinger Band. The big level to hold is this 200-day simple moving average. If it pulls back, you want to see it hold 60. If it drops below 60, then it could work back into the bands, and EMA 4 at 55 would be the key level to hold. The big level to break to the upside is going to be this closing price here on the 9th of October, and that's going to be 75. So 75 to the upside. It has a buyout offer for 67. So keep that in mind. If for some reason it starts to break down and you're a bull, you want to see it hold this 60 level. If you see it drop below 60, that's going to signal weakness, and it could drop down into the 50s. Okay, let's look at IBIO. Really sweet move today. Closed up 27%. Kind of snuck up there. We had so many stocks in play. We didn't catch this till the end of the day here. It's above 30 on RSI, above 20 on Fasto, so it's heating up. And so this had the dead cat bounce today. Notice how it had been in a really nasty downtrend. It broke the middle Bollinger Band back here in October when it closed below, and notice how the candle started riding EMA's 4 and 8 resistance lower. It failed to get above the middle Bollinger Band here in November, and then it dropped big. Notice there's a big gap here between these two candles. So now what we have is we have the dead cat bounce. Came down to 14, found support. And what you're looking for when the candles are dropping below EMA 4 is a close above to signal that there's a possible change in trend. That's the first clue. And then the next level you want to see break is EMA 8. And that did happen today. And notice there's no upper wick on today's candle. That is called a closing a white Marubozu candle. Okay, it's late. Yeah, but that's a Japanese word. Basically means an old word meaning bald, no upper wick. It means the bulls were in control all the way into the close, heavy buying into the close. Okay, so what you're looking for now with this setup is you want to see a break above 19. That's the orange line. That's EMA 13, and then it's this gap. You have a gap here. This is the top of the gap. This is the bottom of the gap, and the bottom of the gap is always a tough level to break. So 21 is going to be the big level. If it can get above the bottom of the gap, then it's the middle Bollinger Band at 22, and then the top of the gap is, it looks like it's at 24.50. So those are the big targets for tomorrow. Keep an eye on IBIO for potential follow through. And let's take a look at PYDS. You know, I was looking at the chart, and we had been discussing this all throughout the day, and you know, it formed the upper wick, and yeah, I was looking at some old charts that I made, and so check this one out. The annotations are old, but if you can see here, when PYDS closes above the upper Bollinger Band on a large white candle, the history shows that it works its way back into the bands, and especially when you get the large volume spike. Look down here at the volume bars. Many times the big green volume bar is followed by a red one. Now a green volume bar formed today. I would call this more like a mini spike. You know, it is a spike. It is a big spike compared to the other ones. You know, it's one of the largest volume days of the year, and so what's going to happen is it closed today above the upper Bollinger Band, and then notice it also closed above a really key resistance level, above this ascending resistance line. Notice how in April it failed. You know, April started the resistance. You know, it hit the same level in September, failed to get above in November, and then it finally broke above and then dropped back below. And then today was the first day that it closed back above since that run in November. So this could signal that it wants to push higher. We're going to see if this can have that next push up. The next key level is going to be up here at 340. Well, you know, this 340 to 350 zone. You know, that's the high close level here in the first week of November. If it can get above 345, that's going to signal it wants to break higher, and you're going to see the fours. If it struggles with breaking 3 here, you could see there was resistance right here. You know, it closed right above the high close resistance level as well. And so if it can stay above this 280 level, you know, if it can hold that 280 and turn it into support, it could push higher. If it drops below 280, then it could consolidate and test this middle Bollinger Band. It just broke back above the middle Bollinger Band. As long as that holds at 233, the uptrend should continue. So above 280 signals it could run up into the 3s, drop below 280, and it could test the 250s. If you look here at the PYDS weekly chart, now I know this is really messy. Sorry about that. This is another old chart, but it's cool about having these longer term, older charts. When you save them, you put the annotation. You can look back because they're all a map of the, you know, the stocks tend to repeat history. And so here we can see the weekly chart really heating up this week. There's been this big resistance at this 250 level. Notice how you know, it was the resistance was created back here in 2016, and then it got hit in 2017, failed to break again in April, and then it got above that level in October, and then it pulled back below. And so now it's back above this 250, 260 resistance zone. And so you want to see a close above that level for the week. This weekly candle will not set until the closing bell on Friday. And then what you're looking for now is a break above that 3 zone that we were just talking about. And then now it's the closing price on this weekly candle here. So it's basically, you know, the 350 resistance zone. So if you can get above 3 and then it can close above this 350, this weekly close back in October, that signals it wants to break higher. And then you're going to see that push, you know, continue up into the sixes. This is filling the jar. You know, that's what it looks like it's doing. We were talking about that before. We'll see. You know, it's got a good uptrend going. As long as it's right now, the candles are forming above all the moving averages. If you look over here on the right, you can see that you know, all the moving averages. You know, the top moving average on this chart is the EMA4 at 251. You know, EMA, you know, the 200 and 300 day simple moving averages are at 222 or 228 and 203, and the share price is at 291 right now. So it's really bullish. You know, it's just we're going to see if it can follow through. Okay, take a look at EYES. This stock has been on a tear. Quite a multi-day run here. You know, sometimes that happens. You know, they move up slowly, and you know, next thing you know, it's an awesome multi-day run. 86 now in RSI. Fasto's above 80. You've got the pinch here on plus DI. We're going to see if it can stay above that. I mean, this has been one heck of a nice uptrend. I mean, look how strong this is. This has been a great swing trade. Congrats everyone that's been trading this. Good job. You know, just a nice chart. Once it broke above the 200-day simple moving average here, that's the red line, back on the 27th of November, it really signaled the coast was clear, and then it ran up to the 300-day simple moving average. You notice how it hit resistance at first and pulled back? Well, that close above here in December, that signaled more breakout higher, and then today it had what looks like a climax type spike. We'll see. It has the upper wick from high of day, so it has that 255. It's got to break above that level, and then today's candle did form above the upper Bollinger Band, and then you have the big volume spike. You have the multi-day run with the big push. So it could take a pause. If it does, you know, similar to this right here where it worked back into the bands, as long as the EMA4 at 201 is holding, the chart super strong. You know, it's starting to get pretty parabolic on MACD, and then like I said, RSI and Fasto are at overbought levels. If you look here at the weekly chart, I meant to make this bigger for you. You can see here on the eyes weekly chart that it's coming up on the 100-week moving average, and so this is the big level to break. You know, it broke above the 50-week moving average in November, closed above that, signaled more upside potential. You know, the share price had been consolidating, and just take note. Notice how there hadn't been a close above the 50-week moving average for a super long time. So for swing traders, people that have a 9 to 5 that are looking for a stock, they can just jump in and ride if the chart's bullish. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for that close above the 50-week moving average on the weekly chart. That signals the chart is strong. As long as that level holds, the uptrend should continue. Now it has to get above the next key level. A weekly close above 250 signals it wants to head higher. If it fails to break above 250, it could work back into the bands. As long as the EMA4 at 181 is holding, the chart is super strong, and for long-term holders, the signal is just to keep riding. You know, as long as that middle Bollinger Band way down there at 123 is holding, the uptrend is technically intact. Okay, let's look at GOHE, the one penny stock on this, or over-the-counter stock in this video. And yeah, I meant to put this in the last video that I posted, and you can see here it's got the really nice uptrend going. It did form a spinning top today, you know, an indecision candle. It had the long upper wick, which shows profit taking. It closed above resistance, so that was a good close. You know, it closed above the closing price here on the 7th, and so that signals more upside potential, and so we want to see it stay above 10. If it drops below 10, then it could drop down to EMA4 at 86. Notice how EMA4 has been holding besides this day here during the strong push, so close below EMA4 would be your signal that it wants to consolidate. To the upside, you know, you want to see it break above this open here, right above 11.5, and a close above that level is going to signal that it wants to keep pushing higher. So keep an eye on GOHE. Thank you very much for viewing this video. Please come check us out at our chat. Yeah, you can check out the app and download that. It's a really good stock tool. I'll post the link below the video. Thank you.